Hey Internet, I'm back from Florida. Driving from Illinois to Florida and back, I went through a lot of states, like anger, anxiety, and depression. Jokes aside, I don't travel a lot, so going to Florida in some ways almost felt like going to a completely different world. And so in this video, I decided to talk about the multiverse. Hey boss, people are actually kinda tired of the multiverse. What do you mean people are tired of the multiverse? You think that's gonna stop me? You think people were begging for new Speed Racer content? Okay, sorry. Geez, as I was saying, I know a lot of people seem really burnt out on the multiverse right now, and I think that's kind of a bummer. I feel like we've really only scratched the surface when it comes to doing things with the multiverse. But before I get too carried away, I'm not really here to talk about the multiverse as a whole, but more specifically, I kind of want to ask the question, should Dragon Ball start using the multiverse more? Growing up, Dragon Ball continuity was pretty simple. There was the manga, the anime, and then the movies and specials. The specials were considered canon to the anime, but the anime had a ton of filler content. So some purists would say the only true canon Dragon Ball is the original manga, but at very least, everybody knew the movies happened in their own timelines. You see, the Dragon Ball movies were basically promotional films that they would put into theaters. Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball, was writing the manga as the show was running, though it would have been really hard to make these movies fit into the continuity. Also, that wasn't really their purpose. They more existed to help spread the awareness of the brand. I feel like that's not overall complicated. The movies are fun side stories that aren't canon, but the implication there is a multiverse. So for years, I always liked to look at Dragon Ball as like 3 universes. I would call them the mangaverse, which is pretty self-explanatory, the animeverse, which included Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, though once Super came out, I included that as well, and lastly, the Toeiverse, which included the original movies and the series Dragon Ball GT. Now, I know people have different opinions of these different universes and what they should all include, but that isn't necessarily the multiverse that I'm really interested in talking about. Toriyama never really seemed to care too much about canon. These universes are more just fun ways to consume the series. Also, now that Daima's out, continuity is even wackier. So let's get into the lore to see where we see some multiversal action. In the Android saga of Dragon Ball Z is the first time I can think of where we see a character that comes from another universe. Alright, for those who don't know, here's a quick rundown. The main character, Goku, dies, and then this Trunks guy comes from the future to stop Goku from dying, so he can punch more bad guys. I mean, 90% of Dragon Ball is just everyone making sure Goku can punch more bad guys. Anyways, should that count as multiversal? Well, yeah, it's another universe, so branch timeline or not, the multiverse is open. But it was only really used as a plot device in a time travel story. We would have to wait nearly 25 years for the multiverse to really open up. In the series Dragon Ball Super, the third arc of the anime was the tournament against Universe 6. We finally got to a point where not only does the Dragon Ball canon have a multiverse, but it is being used as one. Some of the fighters from the main universe, Universe 7, go up against fighters from Universe 6. Now, I won't go too far into the details, but I will let you know, Goku punches people. The next main arc was also multiversal. Future Trunks comes back, and this time, the fighters of Universe 7 go to his future to punch bad guys. And one of those bad guys is Goku. Kind of. Finally, the last storyline in the Super anime is a multiversal tournament known as the Tournament of Power. This story uses the out of the multiverse. So, 3 out of 5 of the main arcs in Dragon Ball Super are multiversal. Case closed. They are using the multiverse, right? Well, yeah, but they kinda stopped. After the Super anime wrapped up, the manga continued with the Moro and Granola arcs, both of which took place in Universe 7. They also made 2 movies that were considered continuations of the Super anime, Dragon Ball Super Broly and Dragon Ball Super, Super Hero. Both of these films take place entirely in Universe 7. Then Daima released, and it takes place before the Super anime, and though it takes place in a different realm, it also takes place in Universe 7. So what happened? Honestly, it beats me. Don't get me wrong, I love the stories in Universe 7, and as a Gohan fanboy, I probably like Dragon Ball Super Superhero more than most, but we just got to the door of the multiverse and shut it. The only universes I remember them actually visiting in the show are Future Trunks' branch timeline in Universe 10. There are at least 12 universes that we know of that exist in the Dragon Ball canon, excluding branch timelines and the 6 universes that we know were erased. Now, if you're a big fan of Dragon Ball multiversal content, you're in luck. I have 2 outlets that I can think of off the top of my head to get you more of that content. The first is definitely the Dragon Ball video games. These games have a ton of multiversal content, and you will get to see so many different versions of these characters that you love. You know, stuff like Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta before Daima came out, or like Super Saiyan 4 Gohan. And those are just the tip of the iceberg. So if you're looking for a multiversal rabbit hole to go down whenever it comes to Dragon Ball, I would highly suggest the games and the game lore. And I know it's not for everybody, but I did have some fun with that promotional anime, Super Dragon Ball Heroes. And the other avenue I would suggest is Dragon Ball fan manga. There are actually a lot of fun Dragon Ball fan mangas out there. And a shameless plug, you can check out my friend's fan manga, Dragon Ball Bloodlines. It's a story that mainly focuses on Goten and Trunks. I'll try to remember to put a link in the description. And for those who don't know, there's a version of Dragon Ball AF that was actually made by Toyotaru back when he was going by Toyble. And I had a lot of fun with that story. It's actually a continuation of the Dragon Ball GT timeline. Or there's the OG Dragon Ball Multiverse. These guys did a giant multiversal tournament well before the Tournament of Power, but it's a little different because it's actually taking alternate universe versions of the characters you know and pitting them against each other. But back to the official releases. What are some fun ideas that I'd like to see them try and tackle? But before we go over that, here's a word from our sponsor. Hey, do you wear clothes? If the answer is yes, then do I have some news for you. I drew some pictures and then I uploaded them to Redbubble, and now they're clothes. Clothes that you can buy. So head on over to Redbubble and buy some clothes. Like this Zip the Moon Rat parody shirt. Or these Marvel comic parody shirts. I really like parody shirts. So head on over to Redbubble and buy some clothes. Hey Internet, welcome back. So what are some of these multiversal ideas? Well, the most obvious one is definitely just show us the other universes. You have 11 universes to choose from. Just pick one and go with it. The other idea I see floated around the most is to resurrect the 6 universes that we know were destroyed. Maybe you have another Tournament of Power and they throw those other 6 universes into the mix. Now, we saw a little bit of this in Super Dragon Ball Heroes, where they had a version of Goku that is Super Saiyan 4 Goku and a version of Super Saiyan Blue or Super Goku like simultaneously in the show. But I think it would be kind of cool if they took that concept more seriously, actually make something of those multiversal stories using what you have, like maybe an anthology show even, where they go through the original 13 movies and give you a glimpse of what that timeline looks like in the future. One of the more wacky ideas I had was to actually have Dragon Ball do a bunch of crossover episodes in a series and treat it like a multiversal adventure. So having Dragon Ball crossover with things like Yu Yu Hakusho, One Piece, Naruto, Bleach, you know, a ton of the classic anime. But those are just a couple of ideas. I think it's a bummer that they kind of left the multiverse in the dust so quickly, and I hope to see it come back. But hey, if you liked the video, like and subscribe, and let me know what you think in the comment section below. Until next time, I'm just going to be chilling here on Roshi's Island. Thanks for watching.